Connie needs matchers to help her fabric shine. Diane is making a memory quilt for her sister. Lori needs help matching a fabric from the beginning of her fabric journey. Let's help them out. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Café, and I'm your fabric matchmaker. Fall is in the air, which means it's time to break out the fall fabrics with those beautiful rich tones. But how do you match them up? Today, all of our participants have rich florals that all have a fall flair to them with gorgeous deep colors. Some of them really challenged me too. Let me take you on my journey of how I got to their final matches. Let's get started. Now, our first fabric swatch was sent in by Connie, and her fabric is this beautiful rich brown in the background. And I love the way the background on this fabric has some of the darker areas and some of the lighter areas. It really gives it a lot of depth, which I love. Now, on top of this, just free flowing so beautifully are these ginkgo flowers, and they swirl and they branch off. It just kind of gives the very textured background this really nice flow to it, which is really neat because your eye follows this. But the really special thing about this fabric, it has little touches and sprinkling of silver all over it. So it just gives it this look almost like it's wet, which I like because it just catches the light so perfectly. All right, let's read what Connie has to say about her fabric. Dear Fran, I recently watched your Glitter and Glam 3-yard quilt video and immediately thought of a beautiful metallic gecko leaf fabric that's been sitting in my stash for years. I've held on to it all this time because I could not quite find the right pattern or coordinating fabrics that did it justice. Everything I tried alongside it just fell too flat by comparison. I'd love to finally turn it into a quilt for my sofa, which features similar neutral tones. Your suggestions would mean so much and help bring this long forgotten fabric to life in a new and stylish way. Thank you for all the wonderful ideas and inspiration you share. Well, Connie, I think we have just the thing for you. Let's go check out the quilt. Now, this is our Elegance pattern. It is 40.5 inches by 58.5 inches. And Connie, I chose this pattern for your fabric for a couple of reasons. One, I really like that this pattern has a nice block right here, so it's going to showcase your fabric. As we always know, we bought the fabric because we loved it. We really want to show it off, and this block is going to do that. Now, it is alternated with a very interesting block here that whenever it comes together, it actually frames the focus fabric block, which I really love. It just draws your attention even more into the focus fabric. And I really like the way that the lines look like they're all interlocking and giving it this really cool feel. I think it's super awesome. All right, HSTs. We do not have any half square triangles in this pattern. This is all done with stitch and flip. It's going to go together very quickly. What this also means, and the way this is put together, is there's very little seam matching. This block has no seam matching here. The only place you're going to match seams is when you're putting your rows together block to block. So you know that's going to speed it up so fast. So there's so many reasons, Connie, that this is the perfect quilt for your fabric. Let's get it on the table, talk a little bit more about it. Now, Connie, as we mentioned before, we have put your fabric in the #1 position, which means it's going to be in this really nice sized block here, and it's going to be showcased because it's surrounded by all of this #3 and #2, kind of in the center of that frame, which I love, 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 love. Now, I've paired it with a really warm beige. Now, the beige has some lights and some darks, lots of texture going on, but I really liked this one with yours because it kept the warmth of your fabric, which I think is one of the best things about your fabric. It has a glisten, but it has a warmth, which is so cool. So the #2 fabric is everywhere you see the green on this one here. And then we have framed it all with our #3, which is a nice brown that picks up some of the darker tones in your fabric. Now, we need that darker shade to really have the contrast so that this kind of trellis pattern on the Elegance really showcases your fabric. We wanted it to frame it. We wanted to really help draw your eye to that focus. And I think it worked beautifully. Now, before I settled on these fabrics to coordinate with yours and this pattern, I did kind of try some other things, trying to get a feel for what would be best for your fabric. I started out with enchanting because I thought, okay, it's got a nice big block, it has a couple of different fabrics going on, but whenever I put it in there first, I thought, you know, it almost has too much movement in the wrong direction. I didn't like how it's like your eye was jumping around a lot, and I think with the Elegance pattern, it really focused your eye in on your fabric, which is very important to me. Also, I put that green and beige with it, which I just felt like it kind of went drab. It went down. I wanted a little bit more brightness and pop to your quilt, and I think the two that we chose really works for that. Now, of course, as you see, I tried it in the Elegance pattern too with that green, and like I said, it just kind of seems drab, but it really frames your fabric. So I loved this pattern. I just wanted to give something a little bit more striking. Now, I also went back and read your letter just to double check. You did say you have neutral tones in your living room, so I wanted to keep the quilt a little bit more neutral, which is what you requested. And I think this works perfectly. I love that dark brown as our number 3 because it really does the job we need it to do. It frames your focus fabric beautifully, gives the quilt so much dimension, and your fabric just seems to be truly the highlight of this quilt. I think it turned out beautiful. I love the little silver bits in your fabric so that it really shines. I think it worked really, really great. Connie, for participating, I am going to be sending you 1 yard of the number 2 and the number 3 fabric, as well as the book Big Block 3-Yard Quilts, and this book does have the Elegance pattern in it. Now let's see what Connie has inspired for everyone else. Now for everyone else, I have something very similar. And I know all of you out there know that I try so hard to get a similar feel fabric to the participants' fabric because I think we all love their fabric and we want something very close. So I was able to find a ginkgo flower here on a little bit of a texture background in the same tones as our coordinating fabric. So I think it works really, really well. The way that they are shaded gives them some dimension on the surface. So this is our focus. It's going to go right here in this big block. And you know what? There's just a little peekaboo right here on these corners too. Can't forget about that. And then we've used that same number 2 that is so good with it. It's that really warm beige with that light and that dark. That is going to go in our alternate block here. And then our number 3 with that yummy, yummy brown that just picks up all of those shades of brown in our focus fabric. And that is going to be, of course, our trellis and a little bit of that on the border just to really highlight that focus fabric. I love the ginkgo flower. I just think the way that this fabric is done, it has so much depth and interest to it. And this pattern is perfect for this. I love the way it's framed, but it's framed in such a neat way with that trellis pattern, and I think it really works well. Now this is our brilliant Canopy kit. It is the Elegance pattern from the book Big Block 3-Yard Quilts. Now our next fabric was sent in by Lori. Lori, I fell in love with your fabric the more I worked with it. So when I first saw it, I thought, this is a really pretty floral. It has a little bit of Asian inspiration to it. I love the colors, the deep reds and browns and golds that are in it. And one of the things I do is I will put an image of the fabric into my search engine to see what it comes back with. And when it came back, it said koi fish. And I was like, what? Koi fish? Then I looked at the fabric again and I realized that there are koi fish made out of florals on your fabric. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. Now that I've seen them, I can't unsee it. It is so good. You can see all these fish here. And what I really love about this is the koi is representative of wealth and abundance. And I think that is so cool. All right, so gorgeous fabric, Lori. Let's see what Lori has to say about it. This fabric was given to me by a friend when I first started my quilting journey. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that makes this fabric speak to me, but I think it reminds me of Hawaii, even though it's not Hawaiian flowers, go figure. I'm hoping you will rescue me and find something gorgeous to go with it, because I'm not having any luck. I would like to use it to make my granddaughter a high school graduation quilt. She loves flowers, and I think this fabric would suit her perfectly. I hope you all keep making videos. They are the highlight of my week. Well, Lori, I think we have something extraordinary for you. Let's go check out the quilt. Now, Lori, I chose the Elation pattern for your fabric. I think it's going to work perfectly. It's another one of those patterns that really has a nice big block to showcase your fabric. Now, Elation measures 43.5 by 56 inches, so it's a really nice size. And once again, this is made with stitch and flip, so there's no half square triangles. So it's going to go together really, really fast. I really like the way that the stitch and flip is done here too, because it creates this neat angle on your blocks, which is really, really cool. Now this is a one block made in two different colorways. We have it bordered with our number 3 here and bordered with our number 2 here. And I think that it's going to be perfect. Let's go to the table and talk about it some more and check out that image. Now, Lori, I have placed your fabric in the number 1 position, which means it's going in this really large block here. So you're going to get a nice big piece of it in your quilt so that you can see all of the design in this fabric, because it's very interesting fabric. So for number 2, we've picked up these warm gold tones. And as you know, in your fabric, a lot of these gold tones are in the florals and in the background of your fabric. And I thought it was really nice pulling that in as the number 2 fabric. That is going to go everywhere you see kind of the off-white on this quilt. It's really going to keep it, I think, nice and warm and fresh. Now for the number 3 fabric, we kind of went a little bold here. We've got a really nice dark red with some gold sprinkles on top, just to give it that little bit of life and that little bit of glam that I think your fabric deserves. This is going to go everywhere the green is on this quilt, and I think it really does bring out the reds. And you know, whenever I look at your fabric, it almost looks like it has some gold outlines, even though it doesn't. So it almost makes it look like it does. It's so interesting how when you pair certain fabrics together, it works so, so beautifully. Okay, now before I chose this quilt and these fabric matchers, I actually was going in a different direction. As I've mentioned before, I really read your letters and what you're telling me and try to match that. I do a lot of searching online to find some companions that are just perfect. And the first thing I did was I put your fabric into the Mayfair pattern. Now it has a little bit smaller area for your fabric so that you don't see quite as much of it. So I think that was a little bit of a drawback. And I think especially after I realized that these were koi on here and I wanted to make sure I had a bigger block. I also thought that the 2 companions that I put with it kind of brought it down a little bit. I wanted something a little bit more vibrant and rich looking. And so I switched and kept looking. Whenever I found these 2 companions, I thought it was perfect. It has this elegance and richness about it in this pattern and with these matchers. It's the perfect number 2 that has that warm gold in the background. And I love the way the number 3 red is that bright, brilliant red that really frames it and highlights your fabric. And I know you're making this for your granddaughter for a special gift. I think this is a really beautiful one to wish her a very happy and successful life moving forward. I think it turned out gorgeous. So for participating today, Lori, I am going to be sending you 1 yard of the number 2 and 1 yard of the number 3 fabric, as well as the book Stash Busting with 3-Yard Quilts. This does have the Elation pattern in it. So let's see what Lori has inspired for everyone else. Now we have an absolutely gorgeous kit that kind of has a little bit of that Asian flair to it, similar to Lori's, but not exactly. We have a nice black background with these really bold and brilliant red and cream flowers, as well as all of these other little interesting tidbits, these little swirls, these little motifs here. It is going to go in these big blocks here so that you can really see those flowers and they're showcased. For our number 2, we've kept a similar nice warm gold background, which picks up the gold tones in our flowers of our focus. And of course, it will go everywhere the off-white is here. And then that yummy, yummy red with that sprinkling of gold in there just to coordinate it together. I think it really brings out the gold of the focus, but the metallic really helps the light catch it, which I think always gives our quilts a little bit of a glow, which I love. This is going to go everywhere you see the green in this quilt here. Wowie kazowie. This is so rich and elegant. That focus fabric with the gold on it and those gorgeous, gorgeous florals just really stand out. But the pattern and the border around that really gives us a neat angle. It helps your eye travel across the quilt. I just think this is stunning. I think it turned out so, so beautiful. All right, the kit information on this one is Floral Journey. It is the Elation pattern from the Stash Busting with 3-Yard Quilts book. Now, our next fabric swatch was sent in by Diane, and this is a beautiful fall floral, Diane. I love how wispy and soft the design is. It just kind of feels free and airy, but yet it has all of these different colors. We have some blues, some nice rusty reds, of course the greens in there, and it just all comes together. It's that little bit of a traditional feel, but I think it is really gorgeous and very unique. I haven't seen anything quite like this before. I think it's quite beautiful. Let's see what Diane has to say about this. I found this fabric in my sister's stash when she passed away 12 years ago. I would love to make a quilt to remember her. Appreciate your help so much, Diane. Well, Diane, I think we have something perfect for your sister's memory. Now, this is our Gleeful pattern. It's from our big block book, which means it has a really big block here for a focus fabric. Diane, I think this is going to be the perfect pattern for your fabric. Now, Gleeful measures 42 by 54, so it's a really nice size. And with this big block, it's going to make it super fast to put together. Now, I really, really like the way the alternate block is made on this pattern. This part right here, right in the center, this little star is going to be the focus fabric, and then this is our number 3 fabric. And what that's going to do is it's going to give the star this effect that it's like spinning and it's throwing off beautiful rays of light, and it works really well. It's perfect with your fabric and the companions that we put with it. So let's get it to the table and check it out. So Diane, I put your fabric in the number 1 position. I wanted to really showcase it in a large, big block, and I thought that this Gleeful pattern was perfect for it because it can really show a lot of the repeat and all of the beautiful colors that you have in your fabric. Now also, it will be in the center of this star here, which I think was very interesting and gave just little snippets of the coloring in your fabric. We'll see an image in a minute so you know what I'm talking about. So for the number 2 fabric, I kept it very kind of warm. This is a nice off-white. It has a little bit of a paisley and floral print on it, but it's a tone on tone, so it's very subtle and still gives us some nice contrast here. And of course, your number 2 will go in the background here on this quilt everywhere this white is here. Now for the number 3, I chose this nice blue. Now, I chose this because you have touches of blue in your fabric, and I really thought that it brought it out. We're going to step through some more reasons why I did this in just a minute, but I really like that this blue has a lot of weight, has a little bit of texture to it, and it's not drawing away, it is enhancing, which is really what we need to do. This blue is going to be on the outer parts of your star here, almost like your focus fabric is in the middle and that star is spinning and that blue is just bits and pieces coming off of your focus fabric. I think it's kind of cool. And of course we have some of that on the border as well. Now your fabric did stump me just a little bit. I tried several different matchers with it, and one of the things that was very important to me is, one, showcasing your fabric so that you can really see it, but 2, making sure that it stayed the star of the show and that it didn't become a secondary element in the quilt. That is not at all what we wanted to do. So one of the quilt patterns that I tried was Liberty. This is one of my favorite patterns, and this is not a bad rendition of your fabric in a pattern. However, I felt that the stars were the focus on this and not your fabric. I wanted a little bit bigger block so that you can really showcase your fabric. So I tried Traditions. So I did this because I thought, okay, Traditions has a really nice big block. It's bordered with our number 3, and then our alternate star has a little bit of the fabric in it as well. But whenever I did that, it just seemed so static to me. And the dark fabric I thought was just a little harsh against yours because your fabric has this kind of free, wispy feeling. And I wanted to keep that feeling in the piecing and the pattern. So I tried it in Gleeful. I thought this worked great. 1, because it had a big block to show off your pattern. It had a little bit of your fabric in the alternate star block so that you could still see it, and it carried it throughout the quilt. And then I changed the number 3 to this nice blue, pulling that out of your fabric. I think it kept it a little bit lighter, and I think this particular star pattern kept that free feeling and that fun and that swirly, airy kind of feeling that I really wanted to capture, because that is the essence of your fabric, and I really, really like it. So for participating today, Diane, I'm going to be sending you 1 yard of your number 2 and 1 yard of your number 3 fabric, as well as the book Big Block 3-Yard Quilts that has the Gleeful pattern in it. Now, Diane inspired this gorgeous kit. I really love what I was able to find. We have a similar feel fabric as Diane's. Now this one is in blues primarily, where hers was more in brown with touches of blue. This one's kind of blue with touches of brown. So it kind of has that similar feeling. Really love that this has like a background print on it as well. It almost is like it's a mimic of the upper level here with all the colors, and it's just like a tone on tone in the background. It's very cool, very cool. This will be our focus fabric. It is going to go in the big block and in the center of our star. I've paired it with the same pretty cream here that has that tone on tone print on it. We've got the flowers and the paisleys here. This will be our background. And with the gorgeous number 3 to really bring out the blues in this one. And of course that will be the outer points of our star and our border. I think it just coordinates so beautifully. Wowie. Just so pretty. I love the way the focus fabric is in the center of that star. I just really love the way that works. And that nice big square really shows off the fabric so well. The number 3 fabric with that nice navy blue, not too harsh, but gives us a beautiful frame and just the right contrast with our number 2 to really show off all that hard work and the piecing that you're going to do on this. All right, the information on this kit is always cherished. The name of the pattern is Gleeful, and it's from our Big Block 3-Yard Quilts book. Now I'm so excited to share with you Beth's quilt. Beth participated in episode 9 of Matchmaker, and her fabric was the number 2 fabric. It's the cream that you see in the picture. And we paired it with 2 others, and look at this quilt. It is gorgeous. She made a queen size and put it on her bed. I think it looks stunning. Oh my goodness, Beth, great job. And I'll have to say, your kitties are absolutely gorgeous. And they seem like they really like your quilt too. It is so good. So thank you, Beth, for sharing that with us. And thanks to everyone who participated today. And thank you for sending in pictures of your finished quilts. I really love seeing them. If you've participated in Matchmaker and would like to send us a picture of your finished quilt, send it to matchmaker@fabriccafe.com. If you would like some more fall quilt inspiration, then be sure to watch the video that pops up. It's Fran Morgan, your Fabric Matchmaker.